Hello, all you happy people. Uh, I just wanted to start off this video with a little admonishment to YouTube to stop being so blatant about the fact that they don't want to pay content creators anymore. For those of you who have not done so, I suggest going to a website called www.socialblade.com and then entering any of your favorite YouTubers' information, their name, so that you can see what they're put in the name of their channel, and then see how much money they should be making according to YouTube's own rules. Now, you'd be surprised how much they're supposed to make, and right now, all of them are making nothing. From going to socialblade.com, I actually looked up how much I'm supposed to be getting per month. No joke, because of all of you who are following, and there aren't a lot of you, but there are quite a few of you, and the people who've actually stumbled onto our channel, I should be making approximately $46 per month. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's actually enough gas money and the ability for me to be able to buy and send a new headset and a podcast mic to Joel, or to get replacement stuff, or gas money just to be able to get to some of the sites that we've spoken about on our podcast to be able to show you these things. And that's pretty considerable. Now, $46 a month doesn't seem like all that much, but when you consider the fact that I was once going to get 12 cents worth of it and then they took that away, that's basically what the apocalypse is. But this isn't a new thing. This has been coming on for some time. And this is why I've been begging all of you to please go and like our channel on VidMe. The reason why is because I will take these podcasts, as I've been doing, and I edit them, put in music, cut out all the dead spots and some of the chatter that we have where we're just laughing about things, and I put it in a more succinct fashion onto the VidMe page. That is going to be our main home. It's not that you won't be able to follow us here, but this place is demonetizing everything. And if you think I'm kidding on this, I'm going to start taking screenshots. The last 7 times I was planning on making a podcast here where we discussed something, before we even had a chance to shoot it, to be able to do what we're doing right here, they demonetized it for content. Once again, an unrecorded video was demonetized for content. Holy smokes, huh, folks? That means that there's no way to do this. Now, I got up this morning, pulled up this podcast preparation, which I only made yesterday, and wouldn't you know it, demonetized also. They're not even playing at it anymore. All of the money is just making sure that it's funneled to the top. If you are unpopular content, if you are a story reader, if you are talking about parapsychology, psychic, whatever, if you are alt-right, if you are actually a progressive left that isn't the Young Turks hiding behind the name, you aren't popular content. And so advertising does not go to you. Does this mean that the money doesn't go to Google? Incorrect. All the money still goes to Google. They just keep it in their pocket. Everything has its time. MySpace eventually died and became a place where people listen to music. And then Facebook rose. And now Facebook is on the decline. And that's why Zuckerberg is freaking out and trying to figure out how to maintain his relevance in the age of all of these other pocket ways to be able to keep in contact in social media that people are utilizing far more. I mean, even Tumblr is becoming... and I hate to say this, Tumblr is a place where good ideas go to die. But even that is becoming more popular now because nobody is ramming political hype up people's hoop like Facebook is. Heck, there's things that I was subscribed to on Facebook that they wouldn't let us watch anyway, and they would keep from coming up on my news feed. And this is because that's what they want to do. They simply want to pipeline. Now, I'm a progressive left, a true classic progressive left. I don't believe in censoring anybody. I don't believe in stopping anybody's free speech or rights. I don't think that because somebody has a different idea from me that they need to be shut down, shut up, pushed into a corner, boxed in, crated up, vilified, crucified, any of the afides, okay? I don't believe in any of that, but that's what's happening here. And that's the reason why I'm begging all of you, please go to www.vid.me. There's no .com. Go there, create an account. You will find our videos there. We are predominantly going to be going there. And once YouTube is no longer useful, and believe me, they are at the bare edge of useful, we'll be recording stuff on Skype and other mediums in order to be able to put in there, which will allow us to be able to show our faces in split screens, etc., which you cannot do on Google Hangouts and the podcasts. This is kind of important. The reason why is because there, if you choose to give me a quarter or $1 for a subscription per month, we can, without messing around with Patreon, send you these things. We can give you specialized content, and we can, behind a paywall, bring you up onto the podcasting and keep you hidden and be able to talk to you, help you with whatever problems you have, personalized problems, and they do not go out on the podcast. This is the primary reason why I started this, and unfortunately, YouTube has made it so it cannot be done. Believe me, they have demonetized everything that they can for my channel. They've done this for lots of content creators. Even PewDiePie, which everybody's heard of PewDiePie. He's talking about how he can't make any money here anymore, and he's switched to Twitch. The days of YouTube are numbered. They have gone full-fledged, full retard. They want to go with YouTube Red and doing rentals through YouTube. And if you are a content creator, that's nice, but you're not going to get a dime. Okay? I'm telling you this because this is the way it's going to be. Pretty soon, you're going to come here and find videos that have been recorded originally on VidMe instead of being part of the action there on VidMe. Almost all the content creators from here are going there. Hellfreezer, Darkness Prevails, all of them. Only the ones who are holding on to being here because they know that they have a higher profile and they really aren't in it for the money are sticking around here, like myself. I'm not really in this for the money. I'm in this to reach and help you. But I can't reach and help you if I don't get a little bit of what the content I'm creating is getting advertising for. Even though I switched from a Ford Explorer to an Edge, let me tell you, the gas prices are still up there because California is squeezed like crazy for the price of converting oil into fuel. Is it a valid squeeze? No, but that's another talk for another political day. Suffice to say, if you don't switch over to VidMe, eventually you're going to lose us because we're not going to be able to maintain our time here on YouTube for the simple fact that it doesn't help. Okay, we're not able to get anything out of it except for video storage, and that's exactly what I'm going to be using YouTube for: video storage. You hear that, YouTube? You guys are only good for storing videos. That means that you guys are like the like when you're moving house and those places that you can store your stuff and your extra knickknacks, bric-a-brac, and stuff that you don't want Granny to have in her new place. You just store that in there, you lock it, and you walk away, because that's exactly what we're going to be doing here. So you'll be able to see the old videos, and I cleared out the other channels that I had created in order to be able to make a fresh start, because as soon as I scheduled new videos on those other channels that were not directly linked to this one, they demonetized them as well. So once again, VidMe, it's www.vid.me. If you want to keep up with our current content, all of it is going to be there from here on. And the benefit of going in and listening to it there is it will be edited, and it will have music, and it will be cut down so that you can actually listen to it in sound bites, so that you can be able to, while you're riding, driving, walking, jogging, or whatever, listen to it in pieces and not have to worry about missing out on something because you hear us laughing about some kind of joke that bounced around. So I think I've talked about that at length, 9 minutes worth of my rant about the perfidy of YouTube and Google in general. And I apologize for taking up too much of your time. I will edit this out, of course, when I put it on VidMe. So this is where we're going to start from in order to be able to do the cutoff point for the next video that moves on to VidMe. So hello, Sonia. She's the only person who's with me today because everybody else is off doing their thing.
Hello.
Hi, except for Aisha. Aisha, her computer died. I think she got a temporary Dell or something. Her old Apple broke, and now she's going to get a new Apple. I commend her decision. Not only is it a much stronger piece of equipment, but it's also one that will last for considerably longer since you don't have to keep upgrading it. But Joel is on vacation with his family again. They do a camping trip in September going up the coast in California. As far as I know, they're staying on the beach, which presently is probably pretty damn cold because we've been suffering through some pretty weird weather that Hurricane Irma and Harvey have been tossing our way. Not exactly remnants so much as straggling storm systems that have been walloping the coastline and the inner portions of California. So I was asked how to maintain focus by Ginseng. He wanted to know, how is it that I maintain focus? Now, this is kind of interesting to me because I remember if I told you that concentration is maintained on the breath. If you remember some of our old videos, I admonished you all to remember that concentration, attention is maintained on the breath, to focus on breathing. But there are other ways as well. If you can't maintain that, when I'm in a stressful situation, I have several other ways that I can distract my mind so that I'm able to let environmental data come in. But it only takes me maybe half a second to do it. And so I had to work through and think about how I did it. So I'm going to ask Sonia how she does it, if you've managed to attain it or maintain it. Here's
what do you mean by that?
Well, when you concentrate, how do you concentrate? Do you remember when that thing was coming into your house and I said, here's what you need to do? How did you maintain your focus?
It was like the breathing and just get out my face, Lou. Sorry. Don't get in my face.
Get out the face. Which one's in your face?
Lucy, my boyfriend's border collie.
Okay. So go ahead.
Now she's giving me the death stare. Like I say, it's more with the breathing and just in through the nose and out through the mouth. So
now that's the way to maintain general focus is when you breathe, you feel yourself breathing. But almost any bodily function you can focus your mind on can be done. It could be used to get it done. Focusing on your heartbeat. And if you've ever seen people who meditate and they put themselves into the lotus position and they stick their hands on their knees, and you'll see that they'll touch their thumb to one particular finger. Apparently that has some kind of meaning in different types of meditation. I've never figured out what it was about. I can look it up, I'm pretty sure, to see what it is that it means. But the kind of focus that I learned was a little more Western. I learned to stare into mirrors to do it, which unfortunately had a negative side effect for me, which I've discussed on other videos. Focusing on sounds as well. Joel got one of those bowls that are singing bowls. When I was younger, what I had done was focus on chimes. And that was when I was in choir. They would ring these chimes and you would focus on the sound as it dissipates. And you listen to it and focus on it to the exclusion of all else while you breathe. Focusing on the sound helps you to distract your mind, but you have to tell yourself also, this is important. I'm not just going to say, oh yeah, you did focus on that. No, I'm going to give you some specifics. If you start hearing your mind tell you what you're hearing and your brain says, oh yeah, I can hear the sound and it's dissipating, you have to shut that down. Your mind must not talk to you. You must focus on the sensation. You must focus on the sensation of the breathing to the exclusion of all else, or the sound to the exclusion of all else. If your brain keeps chattering, you have to remind yourself, shut up. I'm paying attention to that sound. And sometimes you have to do it over and over again until your brain learns how. And it can take years for some people. Now, there was a video on VidMe. Yes, blatant plug for YouTube, for VidMe, screw YouTube, where this channel called Thoughty2 had created a video about banned, but basically don't watch this video. It was to try and prove the power of reverse psychology, which is to say, yes, if you were told not to do something, almost always you will do that thing. Like, for instance, don't think about this white bear while we're talking, because, and in this research, people found that no matter what they tried to distract their minds to, they were always thinking about the white bear. And while I'm listening to this video and I'm listening to him talking about things, because I'm focusing on what he's saying, my brain never went back to the white bear. This is the actual attainment that you want to reach, the ability to go, that thing must not be in my mind. Let me focus on this thing ahead. And then you simply just keep on paying attention to the stimulus, the voice, the discussion, thinking about it. Your brain, as long as you focus and you remember what you're trying to pay attention to, you can leave the previous thoughts behind you. And I may have a bit of a genetic aid because my eldest son, Trevor, can do the same thing. But then again, I also have been teaching him since he was 3. So he had a great big head start. And so he was quite good at it. If I was to tell him not to think about something, the rest of the day he would not. But there's also the reverse of that. Once you have done that same sort of thing, you can subconsciously maintain a focus on something without bringing it to the foremind, where you're actually perusing the data or looking at the image or thinking directly about that very thing. And that is the reason for being able to maintain or attain focus. So, any questions? Sonia? You got to get on your computer to do this. It's so much easier to just click back in.
No, not yet anyway, because it's been pretty clear up to now.
Okay. Do you have any input? Things you've experienced? I
know if I'm listening to certain music, I can concentrate a lot better. It has to have like a bass to it, like I don't know. It's hard to describe. Certain music I can concentrate better. Like when I'm doing my coursework, or I know I'd use music to do it that way.
Right. Music has a similar effect, but it also has a higher effect on focus. You don't want to rely on it too much in the beginning until you're able to utilize it as the higher focus that it is in order to be able to draw out more of your energy. But a driving beat will be similar to paying attention to your own heartbeat, when it goes thump, 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 and it's keeping the beat. It'll be similar to paying attention to a chime as you can hear and feel the vibrations, especially if it's a larger, a much larger chime. I mean, one of those big hollow tubes, when you whack it goes dum, and it keeps vibrating, and takes quite a while for it to lose its vibrational pattern, and you listen to it until it's completely faded away. But those are some of the more common ways to be able to maintain your focus. The other way is while breathing and you're in an environment, like what I would do in order to kick out all of the extraneous focus so that I can hear or feel something in the environment, is to either focus on sunlight hitting my skin and feeling the sensation of the warmth with my eyes closed and just silencing the inner thoughts that way, or feeling, which is my favorite, feeling the wind blow. You concentrate on every sensation of it blowing over your body and focus on the sensation of it as it cools you, warms you, blows over your, ruffles hairs, whatever. And your eyes are closed and you're just waiting for the inner voices or the outer voices. A lot of external data comes in while would be doing this sort of thing. Of course, you can't do that while you're inside if you're in some kind of a building, but you can also focus on some of the stimuli that would be inside of a building when you're doing that. In this case, if there's water dripping in the distance, you listen to the water drip, or smell of mustiness in the air, you focus on that. Any kind of physical stimulus that you can focus on to the extent that you can close out everything else. This allows you to be able to do that. And this is pretty important because it allows you to reach your inner voice. And your inner voice is the voice inside of you that can tell you things that you may not already know, or clearing away your inner voice if you have the gift, being able to hear other things talk to you. For instance, I now do it on so instinctive a level that I can just shut out my inner voice and listen for when I need to talk to Jemima. And this is over quite a distance. I'm in California. She's in Louisiana with Aisha. And it takes me a little bit to be able to send my thoughts there to create a link. It's a few seconds, and then quieting my mind so that I can pick up what she's showing me. And she really sends a lot of data. And by that, I mean images, memories, her thoughts, her actions, pictures of the environment, stimulus that she's got from her environment. And I can do that from a great many places. But that's how you have to start, which is to silence anything inside, pardon me, by focusing on things, one particular thing, so that your mind no longer starts racing. Have you found any other techniques that you like to be able to focus with?
I tap sometimes. That's the only time I really do it. It's like, especially if I'm stressed, I find tapping. But
and I wouldn't be surprised if somebody out there has figured out how to use one of those fidget spinners to be able to help them focus while to close out extraneous thoughts in their head. Everything is valid. Everything that you can find that will allow you to do that sort of thing is a valid way to maintain that kind of focus. It's all good. It's all on the table. There's nothing that is not allowed. Tapping. I mean, if you could do it while dancing, if you can quiet your mind as well, that comes back to meditation and motion. But being able to attain and maintain quiet in your mind means focusing on one thing. I remember also was told to focus on a spot that there was a little dot that was drawn on a chalkboard. It says, pay attention to this spot and attention to nothing else. Narrow your focus until it's only on that. Every time you find your mind wavering from the dot, bring it back and just keep bringing it back to that dot until your entire world is that dot, and the world around it tends to fade away. Now, that was also how I managed to increase my focus on the ability to see things in the astral, because I can focus my mind and my eyesight on the dot, and then everything that's astral comes into the foreground. So you could do this on a chalkboard or a wall or someplace where it's not direct sunlight, because believe me, if you try doing this, your eyes are going to go pretty effed up pretty fast. So you focus on a spot that you draw on a wall or a dry board or a chalkboard, and you put yourself in a comfortable position and you sit there and you just keep focusing on it with your eyes open, and you feel yourself breathing, and you keep focusing on that one spot until everything else drops away. The whole world will become less focused also, because you'll start to notice that you start working, your eyes will want to see other things, and they'll try to drag your eyes away from that spot because they tend to get bored and they'll want to bring in everything else. But if you keep your eye focused on that dot, your peripheral vision will start to expand in your consciousness. And I had forgotten all about this until I was asked. So I do apologize when people were asking, how do you see astrally better? How do you see auras better? I had forgotten that this was one of the tricks that really made a huge difference in how I was able to focus, especially as I was losing my eyesight from the time I was 10 onwards. Let me see. I'm trying to think of any other ideas that had come across my brain while I was thinking about this, because I really want to be complete for the audience as well as for Ginseng, because he asked this question, and I know it's important to him because he longs to hear the inner voice and the external voices, and I know a great many of you do too. Sorry, go ahead, Sonia.
My dad always finds drumming quite relaxing.
See, and that's a Native American thing as well. Shamans would do that with the beat, bump, 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 bump. That's why they have certain speeds to the way that they beat the drum. Joel, if he was here, would be able to tell you more about what it means than I. It's outside of, I apologize. It is outside of my experience base. I have a lot of things I have learned from reading after having learned to do something. And uh each type of prayer that comes with drumming has a particular speed when you're trying to do something.
And also bagpipes. I know my dad uses bagpipes because he listens to music with bagpipes if he wants to relax and calm his mind.
Truly a Scottish thing. I've never found Scottish bagpipes to be, and I'm part of my family Scottish. I've never found them to be relaxing. I've always found them to be something I wanted to get up and march to. But it didn't calm my mind. It always set a blaze in my head, a fire in my head that I had to march to. Hi, Eve. How's it going? Sorry, I did notice that you'd entered the room. So go ahead, Sonia.
But I must admit, sometimes I do find bagpipes relaxing. I don't know if that's coming off my dad or what.
It's probably a family thing. As I said, for me, it always makes me want to get up and march. But then again, I'm one of those people who probably would, if I was born in Scotland, be playing in the Highland Games. Probably tossing the caber. She silenced herself again. So one of the other things to help maintain your focus can also be artwork. Especially the more abstract the artwork, the better it will function. Staring at things like mosaics, I found that was actually pretty effective. My father had, for some reason, and I have no idea why he did this, taken small tiles and replaced the bathroom floor, walls, etc., up to about it's just above adult waist height in the main bathroom where I grew up with these tiles. And as I would focus on the tiles, because they had a pretty random pattern of green and white, I could actually focus on them, and I could watch as the patterns would shift or move as my focus shifted them. Now it's hard to explain that, but literally as you're looking at it, your peripheral vision can cause the colors and the patterns to shift, and it kicks you out of being locked to seeing the material plane, and you start seeing astral considerably better. And then as you continue to focus, the patterns on the tiles that are colored start to come forth, and you start to see things there as well that your brain tries to sort out in trying to say, oh, well, this looks like a face or that looks like an arm, which you kick. You basically tell it to stop and continue focusing on the colors and the shifting patterns so that your brain gets exercise in focusing on abstracts and avoiding trying to assign patterns, which is a problem with people who aren't metaphysically active. They try to see things where sometimes there is nothing to see. And that becomes a problem with trying to sort out when somebody's actually seen a ghost or when they haven't, which is a problem for the ghost adventures. They don't realize sometimes they're seeing things that are just light patterns in the dark, where as their eyes turn, they absorb light better out of the corner of their eye. See, here's the thing. When you're in the dark, you see better out of the peripheral vision of your eye because it can pull in more light because it's the cones on the edges. And so you'll notice that if you don't look at something directly in the dark, it is clearer than if you were to look at it directly and then it gets darker. You can pick anything. Just put yourself in a mostly dark environment and then look at something that is only that's clear out of the corner of your eye. Your eye pulls around to look at it, and then it just will disappear. And that's one of the problems that the boys have is they'll think that they see something, they'll spin around, and say, oh, it just disappeared. That's the reason why you don't suddenly turn and jump. If it's there, you keep your focus on whatever it is you're focusing on to look. And I have to say, I'm not a whole hell of a lot better sometimes, because as when my wife was getting her surgery in December last year, my eyes spun around to look at the ghost that had walked into the doorway of the waiting room, because of course I wasn't expecting there to be a ghost there. Who would expect that once again, and she disappeared. And it took me a few seconds to be able to draw her back into visible range, so that while I focused there, I could actually bring her back to being able to see her. So if you ever wonder why a lot of times you see ghosts or things that disappear when you look at them directly, and you wonder why, whether it was all in your imagination, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes that's how your gift manifests itself most strongly. And Joel and I had to learn by doing these little tricks and working on focus to being able to pull them back into the light. And I say pull back into the light because it's a funny throwback to Keanu Reeves as Constantine, where he bares his arms and he holds them up and he's got the tattoo. He says, "Come into the light." And he pulls Gabriel out of the whatever zone she was in order to hide so that he could talk to it. I don't know what to call it. I mean, it's supposed to be a guy played by the same person who did the Ancient One in Doctor Strange. Do angels have a gender? I don't know. So forgive me. And for those of you who want to say, "Oh, there's more than two genders," take that to another channel immediately. So I apologize, but I'm not going to discuss that here. I just wanted to convey my confusion. So you pull them to pull them back into the visual range takes a completely different set of skills, which we'll work on another time. But if you think you see something, you have to learn to maintain your focus. And if something appears in the corner of your vision, just hold it there. Hold it there, and you probably will be surprised how much more you see. This is the reason why it was the cataracts stole my ability to see so much of the astral and of auras, because a great percentage of it comes from the peripheral vision, and my cataracts were coming in from around the edges, swallowing up my sight. And Joel and I had a long chat about that. He says, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." Because it's one of the first things that we learned to do was to focus on the peripheral vision more than anything else. So if Eve, if you're still listening, if you have any questions, I'm watching the live chat, so you can throw it out there. So we're going to wrap this up now. So final questions. This is the final round. Sonia, if you have any questions, now's your time.
No.
Any input, any things you want to say? Things that you found are effective, great for you?
Like I say, music's more thing in breathing, really. I must admit, I have got a fidget spinner, and sometimes that does help. So, yeah. Especially if I'm traveling and the bus is really crowded. So.
As I said, see, the fidget spinner, if that is the way that you find that it works best for you, whatever way. When I say that these are some of the ideas, I want you to get an idea of the basics. You might find that there's something that works fantastic for you. Hell, listening to sounds of the rain or crickets, that's easily enough gotten off of YouTube, because YouTube may be mostly useless, but it's at the very least they have recordings of some really interesting things. Storms, rain, crickets, drumming. You can find all of that in order to help you maintain and attain your focus.
I was about to say rain, because sometimes if I can't tell it's rain, I concentrate in the rain outside, because my bed's right next to the window.
Right. And rain was one of my favorite ways to attain focus, as well as go to sleep when I was just a boy. Of course, that was before all of the rain started drying up here in California. Anyway.
Well, in where I am, it's not exactly we're lacking in rain.
That's why I wish you'd send some of it my way. We need it here on a more regular basis.
We can have it.
Well, don't just say we can have it. You need to start shipping it out here. Okay. So let's see. I'm looking at some of these things up here. It's kind of funny, but there's a reference on our page to someplace called Nuni Boiper. I don't know how to pronounce that. Nuni Boiper, Nuniboipr, about clear your mind with this inspiring meditation. Now, I don't mean to be a jerk, but that's kind of the reverse way of clearing your mind. You clear your mind to enter meditation. You can't meditate until your mind is clear. Whether it's walking, breathing, focusing, music, whatever, the mind must be clear before meditation can happen. Swear. That's it. Otherwise, it is the tail wagging the dog. It is the car driving the human. It is the sky beneath your feet. It simply doesn't work out. It's like, here, I've been meditating for the past 2 hours and all I can think about is creme brulee. Well, because your mind isn't clear. You can't do it the other way around. I'm sorry. It's funny to me because that's probably a great percentage of the lack of success that people will experience is because they're going to run in at it from the wrong direction. That's sort of like going, I'm going to run the bases before I hit the ball. What the hell is that for? Exercise? Well, isn't that the way it's done? No, but you think about it. Is it possible, really possible, to meditate with your mind chattering? No, it simply isn't going to occur. If your brain keeps on going, you're lost. And you're just sitting there going, I can't get into this meditation thing. My brain just keeps telling me last night I couldn't fall asleep at 10 o'clock. Or I keep reliving all of these different episodes of Dragon Ball Z and I just wanted to stop. You have to clear your mind first. Otherwise, it's useless. It's sort of like laying down and you can't fall asleep because your brain won't wind down. This is the truth about the brain as well. If your brain will not wind down and you're laying in bed and going, I should be asleep by now, get out of bed, because you're going to make things really screwed up and train your brain that you shouldn't be sleeping in your bed. Get out of bed, get up, walk around, make yourself a warm drink, watch a show until you start to feel drowsy, then go back to bed. Okay, otherwise you're going to train your brain to go, bed? What's that for? Oh yeah, that's the place I go and read, and I get on my smartphone or my tablet, and I stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm wondering why I'm exhausted because I can't wake up at even 11 o'clock the following day. It's exactly the same idea. Brain must be clear. If you cannot get it clear, or you cannot stop focusing on little sounds or annoyances in the house, get the hell out of bed, get up, go do something else. And the same holds true in meditation. If your brain will not stop chattering, get up, try something else. Then come back a little bit later, maybe 10, 20 minutes later, give it a shot. Clear the mind, try one of the different focusing techniques we talked about. But if your brain starts chattering, stop. It is not meditation. You will go nowhere. So I'm sorry, Nuni Boyper. Whatever, dude. Seriously, you got 50,000 views on that thing. I would leave a comment if I thought I could help you. You have to clear your mind first. Otherwise, it's the 747 driving the pilot. Oh, that's another thing. I completely forgotten about that one. Think about things in order to distract your brain from certain things, you can actually throw different ideas at yourself that don't make any sense, completely conflicting ideas, stuff that people have never thought about. Like, imagine a picture of a person putting on a set of glasses, but those set of glasses are actually made out of a typewriter. It's a typewriter. They're actually putting a typewriter and they're putting it on their face, but at the same time, they've got a big old cleaver and they're trying to cleave it down the center. And they're cleaving it down the center, you can see that the typewriter is not a set of glasses. It's a cake inside, a multi-layer cake with raspberry filling. And that person who's cutting it, as they're actually in a marching band and they're high stepping. And as they're high stepping, you can see they're marching through pistachio pudding. This is how you distract your brain. Okay, it sounds funny, but I swear, these thoughts will get you chuckling and make your brain go, yeah, that's some really interesting stuff. Now, a lot of mental deviants will go, you know what? I get that same kind of thing from doing marijuana. Congratulations, you're a failure at life. Move on. If you have to use a drug to be able to give yourself these different ideas and different thoughts that you normally would not focus on, you have no imagination, and no amount of drugs is going to give that to you. And imagination is absolutely important for being able to envision things. A lot of the stuff that you will get from the environment and from other spirits requires hitting all of the different visual receptors in your brain. So all the different concept receptors in your brain get fired off. If, however, you have no practice with that sort of thing, or some part of your brain doesn't work all that well for it, they could tell you till doomsday this data and it doesn't come through. Hence the reason why poor Joel and I have terrible trouble getting names out of spirits. I mean, he and I both cannot remember names to save our frickin' lives. And so for some reason, that's the reason why they'll tell us their names, and you'll see their voice, their mouths working, and it's almost like somebody just wadded up cotton and rammed it in our ears, and it's like, what did you say? What? And it took us a long time to actually get names of certain spirits that were willing to talk to us when we were much younger. And I had a slightly easier time than Joel, but that's not saying much. It's like the difference between -8 and -9. What's the difference between them? -1. So we're both crammed shoulder to shoulder, side by side, on a not being able to do this one thing equally well. So you have to exercise your brain to think about things that you've never thought of before, working towards seeing and thinking and feeling things that are foreign to your day-to-day life, so that when these thoughts and ideas from other creatures come in, they come in clearly and you can pick them up. Okay? This is another reason why fantasy, or watching fantasy books, or reading fantasy novels makes you think outside the box and expands your ability to incorporate new thoughts and ideas. That's the reason why philosophy is so important. Guided meditation can be important. It's just the way that it works best. So I think probably our next video will be something about that same sort of thing. Anyway, if you guys are seeing what I see, and Noonny Boy Purr is on your page to the right next to the video, go and watch their video. Tell them what you think. If it's helpful to you, let me know. So, especially since they put it on my front page, and that's NUNIBOIPR. I'm pretty sure he could use a view every now and then, because why not? Since they're taking away all of our they're taking away all of our monetization, because 12 cents will break Google, apparently. Christ. In any case, I'm going to wrap this up, try and keep the video down as low as possible. I will see you all on VidMe. Please remember, go to www.vid.me. Like our channel there. If you like what we see here, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help quite a bit with making sure that YouTube knows what schmucks they are. Oh, wait, did that come out? And also maintaining our presence here until we can actually have a presence there where we can discuss things more readily, more freely, and more capably. And I'm actually going to get money so that I can come to help people no matter where they are, such as people who really are in need of help, like our friend Semigod, who is moving from his old home to a new one where he's no longer defended from that thing that had been chasing him. So yes, folks, I'd like it if we were actually someplace where we could do the things that we're trying to do, so that we can actually reach the folks that need the help. All right. So until next time,